everyone, welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. I'm back for another look at the weekend racing, looking ahead to Saturday, the 25th of October, where the jump season really gets underway proper as we have our first Saturday's action of this season at Cheltenham, and it's going to be terrific there. Also, of course, plenty of very good flat racing, and I've got a couple of free selections for you, both really decent prices coming up on Saturday. If you happen to be new and stumbling across our channel on YouTube, just press the subscribe button below the screen and you'll be able to get all my selections posted free. And if you're interested in more selections on a more regular basis throughout the week, when there's big meetings in particular, and through the weekends, then you can join me at Out in Front via the link in the description box just below this screen. It's going to be really great value as we get into some terrific racing over the jumps in particular in the coming weeks. Well, let's take you to the two selections for Saturday. In fact, just before I do, I was pleased to say that last weekend, both my selections ran really well to finish in the money. No half measured, recommended 25 to 1. I think the SP was a touch bigger. Ran really well in the champion sprint for fourth, and most firms were playing for places. And Holloway Boy was the subject of a bit of a gamble, recommended 22 to 1. He dead heated for second, only beaten half a length in the Balmoral handicap. So that was about a 30 to 1 or thereabout double. So those of you that were on will very certainly be a few quid ahead, courtesy of my selections last week. Right, well, let's get straight into what we've got for you for this weekend. Two, as I say, and the very first of those is going to be at Newbury in the 310. Now, we think the ground is going to be pretty soft at Newbury. They're saying there could be a little bit of good to soft if there isn't too much rain. Now, only 7 runners here, and this 7 furlong juvenile pattern race coming late in the season when a lot of these young horses might well be possibly past their best, having been on the go since the spring. Now, combined with very testing ground, this race has been an absolute graveyard for favourites. So despite being officially £12 clear on official figures, I think it's worth taking on the Charlie Appleby trained market leader Time to Turn. Twice a winner already this season, including enlisted company, on good ground at Ascot in July. Now, he appeared to struggle on very soft ground, admittedly at Group 1 level a fortnight ago at Longshot. And while that was his first run for over 10 weeks, you would expect that Godolphin would have had him ready to run for his life in a Group 1 in Paris, tackling such lofty opposition. So turning out again fairly quickly and again in tough conditions, I believe that Time to Turn is vulnerable and is worth having a crack at and taking on. Now, if the favourite isn't going to handle the soft ground, then who is? Well, although rated £20, nearly a stone and a half inferior to Time to Turn, Simon and Ed Crisford's Pandemonium is actually unbeaten, winning both starts and has shown ability to handle wet conditions on each occasion. He might not be too far away as he steps up in grade, with the ground potentially something of a leveller. Andrew Balding's stellar Sunrise, on the other hand, is on a hat-trick but has never run on ground worse than good. So his ability to go on the soft is unknown, but of course, connections must be hopeful he will handle the ground, and he certainly is improving, having won the valuable £100,000 7 furlong nursery handicap at York's Ebor meeting last time out. Now, the first time visored boiling over for Carl Burke, who's had a brilliant season with his juveniles, and John and Thady Gosden's May Angel, who's going to wear a hood for the first time. I think they've both got a little bit to find. But Roger Varian's Wechard is going the right way, and he got off the mark last time in a fair nursery at Doncaster St Ledger meeting last month, where he did appear to appreciate the easier ground. And so to my selection, you probably figured it out for yourself if you're looking at the runners and riders in front of you. Well, the least experienced horse in the field is actually the only maiden in the lineup as well, and that is the Richard Fahey trained Arabian Desert, the mount of Ross Orion. And I take him to spring a surprise. He's currently the outsider of the field at 20 to 1 each way. And that's just for two places with the likes of Paddy Power, Betfair, and Sky Bet at the time of this recording. He represents the same trainer owner combination that teamed up to shock the racing world last Saturday with that 200 to 1 winner of the Group 1 British Champion Sprint. Now, although he hasn't won in his two starts, Arabian Desert, who is by the Great Frankel and is out of a Group 1 winner, made massive progress from looking very green on debut and only fifth of seven at Ayr in late September, that's just 4 or so weeks ago, to failing by only a neck to catch William Haggis's promising Morshti over a mile at York a fortnight ago. Now, Morshti had previously chased home a smart horse of Brian Meehan's. You still with me? Morshti chased home a smart horse of Brian Meehan's, who went on to run fourth in Group 1 company at Longshot earlier this month. And by my reckoning, on collateral form lines, I estimate Arabian Desert's mark could be as high as 98 or 99, which would suggest that he's potentially already the second best horse in the field on figures. And in the hope that he handles the soft ground and connections must be equally hopeful, that 20 to 1 each way looks worth chancing, even though the golden third each way place isn't offered anywhere at the time of this recording. Maybe one of the bookies will feel somewhat benevolent and offer three places. So come on, bookies, if you're out there, step up and offer us a third place in the Horace Hill. Now, to my second selection, well, we're going to Doncaster, where the ground is even more testing. A mile handicap in heavy ground, 14 runners, and this is going to be a slog. It's over the straight mile. Plenty of horses are going to struggle to maintain a gallop all the way to the line. Walsingham, trained by David O'Mara, has been in sparkling form of late. He's landed a hat-trick, but has also gone up £11 in the process. At Ascot, last time he handled soft ground on that straight, stiff mile really well, and he maintained his sequence, and is only £3 higher here, so should remain very competitive as long as he handles the even deeper ground expected on Town Moor. Now, fourth in a much higher grade, Ascot Mile handicap last time was William Haggis's High Degree, who runs off that same mark of 93 here. He too has to cope with conditions, but this represents a slightly easier task, and understandably, given the fact he's trained by a master trainer who is brilliant at placing them in handicaps. He's been installed the early 7 to 2 market leader. There might not be a lot of value in that, I don't think, but the stable does have such a fine strike rate in these type of races. Now, there have been signs in recent outings that the one smart Galeron, trained by Charles Hills, who of course sent out 100 to 1 shot Cicero's Gift to win the QE2 last Saturday, that Galeron is slipping back towards a winning mark. His latest fourth at Goodwood was a solid run, and he's been eased another pound since then. The top weight Valvano for Rafe Beckett was fifth in the November handicap on soft ground at Doncaster at the end of last season, but he's not an easy horse to win with, although he has the ability to go close if things drop right for him. A big run could be on the cards for Valvano, but Hector Crouch may have to finesse him into a winning position, and that isn't something that is easy to do on very, very deep ground. Peter Chapelheim's Desperate Dan has form in this ground and is not without hope, while David O'Mara's Theory of Everything and Look Back Smiling for Jenna Tutty, a previous course and distance winner on the soft, are others who could throw their hat into the ring. But my selection for this Doncaster contest, well, at the current odds, I think it might be worth taking a chance that the very testing ground is going to help Titian, trained by Julie Camacho in Yorkshire and the mount of Ryan Sexton. I'm hoping it's going to help Titian return to winning form for the first time since scoring on much better ground at York in June. Now, this 7-year-old hasn't really been at his very best in 4 starts since then, but he does have a good record on soft ground. And on his only attempt on heavy ground, he actually ran second over this course and distance in the Spring Mile at Doncaster's opening meeting of 2023. Also in his favour, and I think this is significant, is that he's won over a mile and a quarter on the soft. So his stamina to get home over the mile in this really heavy ground may well kick in inside the final furlong and a half, when plenty of runners, I expect, are going to be going up and down on the same spot. So at 18 to 1, there was a bit of early 25s which they've snaffled. 18 to 1 is available each way for 4 places at the time of this recording with William Hill. And I think Titian is going to go well. He gets my vote to spring a bit of a surprise on Town Moor on Saturday. So those are my 2 free selections, both at really decent prices here at Sportsbet. If you're interested in 4 more for Saturday, there'll also be more for Sunday. then you can check those out via the description box below this screen. There's a link that will take you to my Out in Front subscription service, which has no tie-in. You can come and go as you please, or indeed you can just pay for one bulletin at a time, which is just a fiver. So I'm going to leave it there for this weekend and wish you the very best of luck. And I'll speak to you the same time next week. Bye for now.